So, as I said, we're going to be starting this every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to be talking about a variety of topics. So, let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to start off with the first topic is the update in reference to the Tates. Now, Sharon and thoughts, if you, since you all have been really on it, if I say anything that's wrong, because I'm on agent, actually, let me put agent's tweet here underneath the post. So since this is going to be the first one we're going to be talking about. And so as you all can see, Agent Addervid, I think that's how you pronounce his name, um, we're dealing tomorrow is going to be a case in reference if the Tates are going to go to jail. Now, everybody was all excited about this the last time, and I was like, and I was right. I was like, hey, don't get too excited because one thing I've learned really quickly about the Romanian court is that they are unpredictable. And I can tell that the judge that allowed the Tates initially to leave the country for some crazy reason, he's the one who said, no, they don't have to go to jail, they can stay as it is. So it seems like I know everybody's like, well, I thought the Romanian court was corrupt. I'm just taking a guess. If anybody's corrupt, it seems like that judge is particularly corrupt. But the DICOT appealed it, and it's going in front of the Bucharest Court of Appeal. So let me read this really quickly, and then you all can jump in about your opinions about this. Tomorrow, the Tate brothers will attend the Bucharest Court of Appeals for an appeal hearing regarding DICOT's previous proposal for 30 days preventive arrest. That means that DICOT is asking the judge in the Bucharest Court of Appeal to lock them up for 30 days. And DICOT has appealed and again asked them to be placed under preventative arrest for 30 days, arguing that they are a concrete public danger and could tamper with the investigation. The Tate brothers are arguing for much less restrictive preventative measures. Previously, the first instance where the judge placed Andrew under house arrest and Tristan is under judicial control. Andrew will likely be requesting to be taken off of house arrest. It seems to me that they feel that Andrew is more in danger, is more dangerous than Tristan. And I agree, they're both dangerous, but it seems to me that Andrew is more dangerous than Tristan. Now, will the judge grant that? I don't know. It seems as a matter of fact, I'm not mad that they didn't go to jail because it made the seizure, as you all know, last week, they seized everything. If I'm not mistaken, they seized the computers, they seized more cars, they seized properties, they seized buildings, you know what I'm saying? They seized bank accounts. And
Underwear, everything.
really? Even the clothes, thoughts?
No, 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 I'm joking around, but I
Oh,
mean, they might as well
okay.
just take whatever's not nailed down, right?
Uh, say again?
They might as well just take anything that's not nailed down at this
Yeah,
point.
true. Yeah. I agree. I agree. So, now let me ask you something. Does it look like they are quiet? Like I've been out of town, so does it look like they've been quiet? Because before I left to go out of town, they were really quiet, especially Andrew, and not being specific about, yo, this is a sham case. Have they been quiet since then?
I would say, if you don't mind me going first, I would say mostly,
Their
but
lawyers
go ahead.
kind of quieted down since this last little bout. I mean, I would say, but they little people are still kind of jumping out of the woodwork, which I'm really surprised that there's this many people that are jumping out to defend the minor exploitation indictment that's come out. I'm really shocked that there's this many people that are jumping out to defend it, but I haven't really noticed many in the states that are doing it. It's more the third world, kind of people from other foreign nations that I've noticed that are doing it. But I haven't really noticed anyone from within the states doing it. So it's mostly those bot accounts and those foreign accounts that are doing it.
I'm happy to go last if you want to take
Yeah.
Sharon first.
Go ahead, Sharon.
I haven't. I have to say the same thing. Candace even said anything about the new case yet? That's
I
the only one
I don't know. She hasn't.
I
Well,
don't think
hold on,
she
hold on,
has.
hold on. She's hold on. Don't quote me because I've been out of town. Unless she said something in reference to. She said something about the new case, but she has not said anything about the seizures of anything.
Okay. All right. I was wondering if she has said anything about the new case now that there's more victims, not just 7, and nothing about the U.S. one that she decided to, try to say that it, in her lovely trying to protect her, the sex trafficker, as I call him, anyways, the other guy that's in jail, and protect him, and then on top of it, but I think she's been pretty much on Jew hatred lately. So that's been her shtick as of late.
Yeah,
So,
that's a road to go nowhere, by the way.
oh my goodness gracious.
Okay, thoughts. Oh, I'm sorry, Sharon. I'm sorry. Did I cut you off, Sharon?
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
I haven't noticed much other than besides the normal people. I haven't noticed, and I have to agree. I think it's mostly just been from the other side of the world. Not much has happened here in the U.S. The most of the conservative side I've noticed has been now condemning, Tate and trying to distancing themselves as much. The majority of them, besides the what I call the wackadoodles,
Mm-hmm.
the Israel Jew haters, those are the ones that are still on, Tate's side.
Right.
Other than that, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Okay. All right. I have to get into tune to see who's speaking up because when I made a statement in reference to, hey, I want you to take a note. I want you to take notice of all the conservatives and all the centrists and libertarians who were all on team Johnny Depp. And for the record, I don't like Johnny Depp or Amber Heard. I don't like neither one of them, so I didn't take any sides. But I'm just saying I noticed how even before the court case even proceed and during the court case, like they were Team Johnny. And here you have overwhelming evidence of the Tates literally snitching on themselves, saying what they will do and what they won't do, what they have done, and they brag about it. Yet the same guys are quiet about it. But I want you to also keep in mind that these same creators are also on Team Steven Crowder. So that should tell you a lot. And I'm when you said some conservatives are trying to distance themselves from them, I'm gonna start taking particular look at other accounts who have been quiet up until now, and if they still are quiet, I'm just gonna put them on blast as well. But okay, so welcome, Lisa. Glad you got in. Okay, thoughts. Go ahead if you wanna.
The same ones that didn't say anything, they also didn't say anything when Ollie Alexander.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, that's because they don't want to deal with the groypers. These guys are cowards. They're very cowardice, and they don't have a spine to step on. I mean, to stand straight with. And this is the reason why it's so easy to take a side against women. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to be a real man to sit up here and say, hey, doing these things to women, pimping women, that's wrong. And I know that sounds crazy to say it takes a man to say that, but a lot of these men have resentment for women. And I tell women all the time, stop listening to the lies they tell you and look at their actions. Pay attention to what they're doing. And this is how you can tell who's on your side and who's not on your side. Who's going to go against you and who's going to stand by you. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
There's so many of them, though, that I don't want to hear them screaming, "We stand for children, we
Oh,
protect
I'm waiting
children"
for
anymore, because
that next time.
they do not
No,
protect
no.
children. Like they just hate LGBT people, which that's all in their
Mm-hmm.
right. But just stand up and say that you hate LGBTQ people because you don't stand for
Right.
protecting children.
Exactly. There you go. Okay. All right. Thoughts? Go ahead. Thoughts? You can
Yeah,
just
I'm
jump
not big.
on in.
Listen, I'm not big on interrupting, okay? I don't want a verbal smackdown from literally anyone right now because I'll go off, okay? Like, give me a reason today. So, yeah, so you'll notice, like, the narcissistic, part of the narcissistic club is if the Tates are quiet, their flying monkeys will activate. And that's what happened with Will Pujols and a bunch of his friends starting to call crayons, Attervid, Gadget, pedos, right? And we used voice technology and private detectives to identify crayons as this guy, and we're all LOLing because, yeah, the first thing a convicted child offender wants to do when he gets out of prison in July 2023 is start a Twitter account against Andrew Tate. That's his first priority, sir. So yes, hold your big space and talk and say it's for educational purposes while you continue to defame somebody who's just presenting documents. So that's what they've been up to, Tree.
So here's a question I want to ask. What do you all think is going to happen tomorrow in reference to the case? Do you think they're going to go to jail? Do you think they're going to what?
Continue the same, probably.
Okay, so they're not gonna go to jail. That's what your prediction.
The judge might meet in the middle since Tristan's already on house arrest and it is kind of a preventative detention that satisfies both sides and still moves it forward without further appeal.
Okay.
Because coming up in November, they get anklets. They get some lovely anklets,
New
some tracking
jewelry,
monitors.
fellas.
Oh, is that what's happening?
I haven't heard
Oh
that,
yeah,
but go ahead.
It's being implemented in November. Yeah, it's a new law that's coming down in Romania.
Okay. Okay. Lisa, is your mic working? Go ahead and tell. What do you think's going to happen tomorrow?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. I don't really know. I'm not up on all the details, but I guess from what I understand, DICOT is requesting that they be held for another 30 days, and they're fighting it. I don't know. I'm not really clear on the details right now.
Okay.
But I hope the end result of this is that they go away for a long time, which probably will be, because I guess DICOT has like a 90-some% conviction rate, so it doesn't look good for them. I think it's just a matter of time.
All right.
Now, for detail's sake, what happens is if they do detain them, they'll detain them for 60 days or 30 days or 60 days, and then they can go in and appeal every time period, like every 30, 60 days, they can go in and appeal it to get out if they do detain them. Or they do hold them in house arrest. Every so often, they can go in, and I think it's 30 days if they're in detention, and then 60 days if they put them on house arrest. They can go in and do a review of it to have it, lifted back to the next level where they can't leave Romania. So, I mean, they have all these appeals processes in Romania, and that's why this process is so long. That's why it's been so long. And that's why they're able to game this with their followers as there's no evidence, there's no, they're just, gaming against us. This is the system against us. This is the matrix. That's why they're able to play this.
Yeah, but also their followers are pretty stupid. They don't do any research. They like to just blindly follow because they don't have any father figures at home, or they have an absentee father. Or it could be a dad that's there, but he's checked out mentally and he's not paying attention to their sons or helping them, become men. So therefore they look to an internet daddy like Tristan, like Andrew, and whatever their daddy says, that's what they'll follow. So I always tell women that if you want to, when you're doing a vetting and you want to make sure you're around a decent person, just talk to them. Like pretend that you're like on the side of Tate and see if they'll fight against that, or they'll join along and talk about the Matrix, talk about them boys, and start blaming everybody for their actions except for them, except for what they did themselves. Like my thing is that I want you guys to understand that everything that the Tates have been charged with, they literally confessed to doing on video. So the fact that anybody would think that these two idiots are innocent is mind blowing. Go ahead, thoughts.
Yeah, just to mention, like this week, I know we've some of us are in a group chat talking about it, and Andrew Tate's target of the week is the 16-year-old YouTuber from Canada, and some of Team Matrix or Team Matrix adjacent have reached out to his parents and been like, listen, whatever your kid's doing, he's now on the It's the Jews train, and maybe you need to pay closer attention to who your son is being mentored by, including Will Pujols, who he thanked for the connection because Andrew Tate started following the 16-year-old kid. And on the direction or advice of Will Pujols or Andrew Tate, tried to inbox Crayon and make it look like Crayon was a pedo trying to inbox him.
What?
Yep.
Really? Oh my God. You gotta be kidding me. Okay.
And the bad part is this kid uses his first and last name on everything. So his name is connected to all of this. I mean, you talk about a kid who, if a college pulls up his name, he's going to be connected to this. If an employer in the future pulls up his name, he's going to be connected to this. If anybody pulls up his name in the future, he's going to be connected to this. They don't think about how reputation ruining this could be for a 16-year-old kid in the future if he gets pulled into something like this. They don't care. They don't care who they ruin in the future. That's the worst part of it all. He's a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, I don't think they care though, because if they cared about uh, the the males that they are harming, they remember when Andrew said he would pretend to be he would pretend to be the cam girl. He would have the keyboard and she would actually have a keyboard that's unplugged, and he would be the one that's ripping off the guys instead of, the girls talking. He knows what to say to to the guys, and take all their money, and would brag. He would brag about um, these men going bankrupt in order to pay for the cam girls, and to pretend that they're going to see each other and stuff like that. So he doesn't really care about the 16-year-old. Sorry, go ahead.
For reference, Treat was talking about the Full Send podcast.
The who?
The Full Send podcast is where Andrew said it, if anybody wants to look it up.
Oh, I didn't even know I didn't know the name of the podcast. I know that clip is all over Twitter X. So
things live in my head that I don't want to. I can't wait for this to be over. I just want it to end, okay? Can we talk about some other toxic men for a while? There's just so many.
Oh, there's so many facts. There are so many, for real. All right. So we're going to move on, so I'm going to just let anybody have any closing statements, or if there's anything I have I missed out in reference to what's going on. So far, the Tates have, like, all of their finances have been seized. Here's something I forgot to tell you guys. So I looked on Tate's when his thing got seized. I saw that he retweeted someone saying, "You can tell that Tate's not a rug puller, that he's not the dollar sign daddy is not a scam, because after everything being seized and they have nothing, he would have basically cashed out." And I thought to myself, I said, well, who is going to cash out to? All his bank accounts have been frozen and seized. So where he going to cash out? He could rug pull if he wanted to. But it's like, these guys are so stupid. Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's shitcoin, fellas. Like, he can burn it all tomorrow and give you the finger.
And let's not forget the video. I don't know if that was Milk Bar or Crayons, where they do a side by side. No, that was Milk Bar. Milk Bar had a video of Tate saying, "I would never promote crypto. Crypto is a scam, and if anybody gets into it, I'm telling you, you are signing up for a scam." And then they show us a video right next to that where he says, "I have a new crypto. It's called dollar sign daddy. It's a new crypto." So it's like you see him promoting crypto, then you see him not telling people never to support crypto. And I'm saying to myself, yeah, I'd rather, controversial opinion coming in, I'd rather OF girls, I'd rather girls in the industry rip these guys off, because they don't know what to do with their money. At least, you're going to help pay for some woman's Prada purse or her electric bill. I'd rather go to the women than to go to some actual pimp who literally abuse women and R-word women. And I'd rather it go to women instead of these two clowns who are just going to be spending the rest of their lives in jail. So if I
As if
miss
they don't
anything,
get
let me
shanked
know.
first, right? They might get shanked.
You think so? I know
I don't
I
know.
know the mafia. I know one mafia group is mad at him, but it does not. Here go me. I don't know about the Romanian mafias at all. I don't know if they just take the time to wait until they get in jail to do what they got to do, or they just say, well, they're going to get punished anyway. So it is what it is.
Well, I just read a report, and I've been looking into, like, really looking into that prison there. That prison is one of the top 10 most dangerous prisons on the
Woo!
planet.
Yay! I like to hear that.
Thunderdome, start her up, ladies. Woohoo! I'll pay per view that. I'll go visit with a box of crayons. Here's how you do math on the bathroom walls, fellas. Okay, 21 minus 6. Okay.
So I read that, like, right after him and Tristan came out, like, the other day, and it totally connected with me why
Yeah,
Tristan looked
oh
like
yeah,
a
that's why he
deer
was
in
looking that way.
headlights when he walked out of
Yeah,
there the other
okay.
day.
That's why he was looking that way. Okay, that makes sense. That makes absolute sense. Cause I'm saying to myself, cause I'm thinking Tristan never looked shook like that before. And
Wait,
here,
he looked shook. I missed that part.
oh yeah, okay. The video where Andrew is, of course, running his mouth. Look at Tristan when as soon as they come out the court after being let out of prison. Oh, sorry, jail. When they got arrested the second time. Look at how Andrew is just the one talking and running at the mouth, and Tristan is behind him. He's looking scared. He's looking around him like he has his head on a swivel. He looks terrified, and that's
But Andrew's anger usually is kind of controlled. You know, his anger was
yeah, yeah.
unfurled when he came out of there, like a scared anger, like a screaming, like uncontrolled anger. And then Tristan was scared to death. Something happened while they were in there.
I never seen them like that before. They usually come in calm, but yeah, you're right. Andrew was really angry, and Tristan had this fear of God look on his face, and it was amazing. It really
I
was.
almost feel bad for Top G. I feel like there's no way they don't get broken in a Romanian prison.
I'm
Yeah, I think they got a sweet little taste of it for 24 hours the other day. Like the Romanian, like Dicot was like, "Look, this is about to be it. Like you need to log off and you need to calm it down online and stop this. And look, this is reality. Take a peek, get a little taste,
Take a
get a little
big
snippet of
whiff,
it.
fellas.
Yeah, this is coming."
I'm okay with it. I have whatever happens to them, let it happen, and I will be just as happy. I don't care. I don't have any sympathy for these type of men and all of the things that, like I said, when you read the transcripts, when you look at the videos, when you see the interviews, you're like, wow, these men are definitely worse than Jeffrey Epstein. And I know that triggered some guys, especially the conservatives, but it's true. It's true. If you line up everything that these men have done, okay, and that they're still doing, okay, Jeffrey Epstein is dead. He can't do any more harm. These guys are still running a game on young males, all right? Their courses are still out there and they're being shared amongst them. I do believe, thoughts, did they shut down the war room or is that still going on?
It's a verified organization on here. Like, the only thing
Oh,
that's hiding
yeah,
from
that's
it
right.
right now is Iggy. Iggy's the only one that's technically still attached, technically the leader, but deactivates most of the time. And we're tracking that. Wink.
And still going on.
Hallie, look in the Hallie, look in the replies. Somebody named Vin posted Tristan's face. That's He was looking like that the entire time Andrew was talking, like just straight up fear all in his face. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in primary school, they took us for a tour of the jail. I mean, they had the inmates like act up. And they were just the ones in holding. They told them to act up and like scare the hell out of us. Let me tell you, I've never gotten in trouble in my life. Maybe they should have done that to them when they were little, and this would have never ever
He
Well,
happened.
looks traumatized. He looks so traumatized. His eyes are all big.
yeah,
Oh man, Milk Bar's video on with this interspersed with some of the things Tristan has said is just mwah.
it's even better when you see it live on the video. When you see the video, it's even better. Like the way he's constantly moving his head around, looking over his shoulders. It's like, wow. It's really funny to watch when you see it personally. So there's that.
I picture like hungry like the wolf in the background.
Because you know there are some messed up people like
Yeah,
in that roommate
yeah, and
prison.
and 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 something definitely happened, and he had to have been threatened for him to keep looking over his shoulders, like to the left and to the right, back and forth, constantly looking over his shoulders and keeping like surveillance around and even in the front. It was really amazing to watch. And like I said, I was like, something went down because you don't look like that for nothing.
He honestly looks like he's been surprised from behind.
I wonder if we can find like a list of the most dangerous criminals in that jail.
He would have to pay them off in order to get protection. So that's another thing with their money problems. They still have to save enough money to buy protection while they're inside the jail. Okay. Now, so I want to move on to something that's very important to me, and that was. By the way, did anybody else have anything else to say in reference before we move on to the next topic?
Dude, we could talk about tea forever. Let's go. I
Okay.
mean, move on,
All
right?
right. Yeah. Okay.
Let's move on.
So as you all saw, there was a woman who was found dead in her cubicle. She was dead for 4 days. She checked in the morning on Friday, and they didn't find her till Tuesday. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this story, and I'm going to put it in the replies, and when I do that, thoughts, can you put it in the, what is that thing called? The nest? Is that what you call this thing? Um, you can put in an
Yeah,
overhead for
some people call it the nest, some call it the jumbotron, whatever you like.
Jumbotron. Right. Okay. So here's what I want to, let me put that in here. Okay. Right. So I was trying to find information about her. And so this is the only thing I could find. Her name is Denise Prudhomme. I might not be pronouncing that correctly. It's Prudhomme. I wanted to see if she had family, because I'm saying to myself, nobody saw that this woman was missing. Nobody, and I wouldn't be surprised if she does have family and they're all like caught up in their own thing, and not notice that, she's missing. She's been missing. She's 60 years old, right? And nobody in the office went over to say hi to her. No one checked in on her, and they noticed a foul smell on Monday. Um, and they was like, maybe it was something going on in the vents. And it wasn't until the security did a surveillance, or I think it was, maybe not the security, an employee did a surveillance and found her. So this is the reason why I'm bringing up this topic. It's very important that women have a sisterhood. I preach about this constantly on my channel. I talk about this nonstop, is that you need at least one woman that you're really good friends with. All right. And that's going to be like a sister. You only need one woman to have a sisterhood. And if you have that sisterhood that will check in on you, that will notice that you're missing. I found out that a very good friend of mine passed away. I found out like 2 days later because I kept calling, kept calling. We talked religiously on the phone. And then she said she was going to the clinic, the doctor, in reference to a rupture in her stitches from her breast implant. And then I called her that night. She wasn't there. I thought she was on medication, so she wasn't answering. I called the next day. Nobody answered. And then the day after that, texting her. I'm like, hey girl, pick up the phone. Like, let me know what happened. And then when I called, her daughter picked up the phone and told me that she had passed away at the clinic. And I was able to tell the rest of the sisters what had happened because I was constantly in contact with her. I think it's important as, women get older, but period, it doesn't even matter your age. You should have a sisterhood to someone to check in on you. And the reason why I want to know if she had a family, because this gets rid of the whole um, narrative of, oh, if you have a family, they'll look out for you. They'll be there for you when you need them. When you grow old, they'll take care of you. That's not true. That's not true. And I'm like, if this woman did have a family and they did not care about her being dead in a cubicle for 4 days, it's bad enough that people in the daggone at the Wells Fargo office didn't care. But it's like, how heartless have we gotten to as a society where you don't check in on your coworkers? I haven't been in the work field in a long time, so maybe things have changed since then.
I work in an office environment. However, like a lot of us are hybrid, right? So like my office is like 80% vacant and some of us work, off and on, off and on. However, like everyone walks the floor continuously looking in offices and this and that. And like the last person who leaves the office continuously checks the office. And on top of it, we have cleaning crew that comes through here. So in our office is locked because of the job I do. So all of our floor, like our entire floor is locked. And then next door, because we have juvenile convention criminals that come back and forth because of the floor we're on. So our floor is continuously locked, and we have locked doors and all that stuff. So like that's our job. Like the last person who leaves is required to check office to office to office to make sure every single person has left. So that's on Wells Fargo to make it like the last person who leaves is usually the manager or whoever it is required to like check the floor. So that's on Wells Fargo. And I don't understand either the security guard who has to walk the floor or whatever it is. So I don't understand why they don't have the protocols in place, especially in a hybrid environment where you don't have a full office. Because this office is, I can tell you right now, we have like 7 people and our square footage is probably close to almost 8,000 square feet. So like this is a huge empty floor. And I get here early in the morning and a lot of times there's only 2 people on this entire square footage. So like it can be very daunting sometimes. So like that's on them. And 4 days is freaking ridiculous for you not to notice. So I don't understand how people didn't notice and notice the smell and think it's plumbing. Like, do you not inspect? Like I go.
Yeah, that made me think like, how do you not know? And I sometimes I try not to be judgmental because I know what a dead body smells like, growing up in a ghetto that I grew up in, right? So it's a familiar smell. So maybe they don't know what a corpse smells like. But still, you brought a very good, interesting point, Sharon. Like, how come nobody, the security or even the floor manager didn't check to see if anybody was still on the floor? And you're right, that floor was not filled. It was partially empty. So good call. I forgot to mention that.
Because like we require that. Like that's our normal like protocol. And besides having locked doors, because just the office building and the different tenants that we have, like we are required to have all locked doors. So like we make it a protocol. Every single morning we walk the floor. Every single night we walk the floor. We look at all the offices. You know what I mean? Like it's an everyday thing that we automatically do. Like we have an assistant. She's here every single day. She walks the floor every single morning. She walks it in the afternoon. She checks everybody okay. Like it's just a normal protocol that you put in place. So especially since the majority of us are here, some people come in only twice a month. So like and that's what happens when you do hybrid now. And those are like requirements that every single company should have nowadays. And I don't understand why. And these are huge office floors now. So like you can go, especially if you have cubicles with the higher walls. And like we're lucky enough, we have almost all open space. So like I'm in a huge open floor right now. We're all in these little cubicles. It's just a desk. So it's much easier for everyone to see us. But like if you're in a cubicle and you're in the center of that cubicle in a big open floor, like it'd be difficult. So you have to walk the floor. And it should be a requirement within a corporate environment to do that. So I blame Wells Fargo for not having that, or the office floor manager or whoever's there to not check that, which is kind of weird.
I really love Tree's point about the sisterhood, though. Like, yes, all of those are true. All of those things are true. And the sisterhood, I feel like we're just in this moment of historic transformation of the whole planet, of people realizing that no, none of these different systems are looking out for you. People, our great grandmothers, lots of them. My great grandmother had many kids, died in a nursing home. It doesn't. That's not looking out for you. When I drive down the road and I see elderly women sitting at the bus stop, I don't think those are the women who didn't have kids. I think a lot of them are broke sitting there because they did have kids. And also the jobs also aren't looking out for you. So we're in this moment where women are finally figuring out, like, we actually do have to look out for each other. And they have the experience that when they get really sick, it's the women who show up and they realize, okay, here's the thing.
Yes. That is, Hallie, that is such an important point. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I do my best to promote sisterhood. That's the biggest thing I want for people to do is to look out for one another, because we used to do this back in the day, and I don't know when it stopped.
Yeah, and people have been looking for the nuclear family to do it, and that made the women really disconnected. I think it's a moment right now. It's a moment like this next 20 years, a lot of things are changing shape, and the nuclear family is going to have a hard time sustaining itself, even due to the crimes that we see. We could talk about that later, but the crimes where people are not safe in their own homes, girls are not safe.
Yeah.
So they're going to stop looking to that and build other structures. And I feel like we here at this moment, we're here to witness this from the front end.
Well, let me ask you all, do you all have, I have like 4 sisterhoods, so I'm asking you all, do you all have a sisterhood? And like I said, let me define a sisterhood, because like I said, you can have a very good female friend that you check in on, whether she check in on you or not, just someone you basically keep in communication with. Do you, any of you all have that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Have a sisterhood? And like I said, let me define a sisterhood, because like I said, you can have a very good female friend that you check in on, whether she check in on you or not, just someone you basically keep in communication with. Do you, any of you all have that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I have a few online ladies that I am more friendly with than other people in general, but for the most part, I'm a bitch. So I try and keep that to myself. I'm self-restricting. I was raised by a lot of B clusters, and I found myself surrounded by a lot of, clout sharking thunder cunts as coworkers and bosses. So it was hard for me to connect in the office space. And I was just pretty much, if you don't put me in an office by myself, like, it's not going to work out. Like, I need to be away from the people. Put me in a
Are you
cage,
one
right?
of those hissing cats, like those videos I see of these cats that hiss when you try to pet them and kiss them? Is that you?
Sometimes. Mostly I'm just like, look. I'm not safe for the average person, and like, unless you can manage the out of my mouth, you're not going to have a good time. So why don't we just segregate me right now? I'm happy with that. Put me in a box, a cage preferably, so that, you're not locked in here with me. And let's just let me work, will you? I don't give a shit about
I
how you
have to
decorate
say,
your
I
house.
work with thoughts, and maybe because we're both like have an alpha mentality, she is great to work with because she gets right to the point. She starts seeing things I don't see. I don't understand how you have problems working with any.
I refuse to have friends, Tree. I refuse. Like, people can rely on me 100%, but I refuse to rely on other people.
Yeah.
But I don't want to rely on
Well,
other
you're
people as
going to
much as
have to
possible.
eventually rely on someone eventually. At least one
The care
person.
worker in the home, right? The care worker's gonna be my best friend. Come on.
You gonna have care worker money?
Right? No. It's just gonna be some like Jamaican or Filipino lady looking after me for the rest of my life, right? I'm gonna call her Mama, right? Right? Come on, Mama, help me walk. Thank you. I love you. My kids don't come visit me, but you're here every day. I love you.
Okay, Lisa, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I can really relate to what you all are saying, which is one, why I don't work in an office environment, two, why I became a massage therapist, because I'm just in the room with my client and nobody else is bothering me. I barely speak to my manager. She's not even there half the time. Just me and the girls at the front desk run the place, and I'm so happy I don't, other than like my clients that I'm just working with one on one, I'm so happy I don't have to deal with people at all, basically. So, although I did get a couple months ago, I did accidentally get left there one time and had to set the alarm off leaving. So that happened. That was kind of fun, but yeah. And then the owner called.
Okay, I'm still gonna say you all do, whether you do it now or you do it later, but you're gonna eventually have to do it, right? You're gonna have to get that one friend, that one female, and it has to be a female, okay? That one female friend that will check in on you. There's so many of them out there. Like when I tell you it's an abundance, it really is. That someone that really, care about you and want to make sure you're okay. Okay. If you now, like I said, if you have a family, like Haley Wood said, even with people in the retirement home, because if kids are putting their own parents in a retirement home and then barely go see them and they're dying there, well, it looks like that's not a good insurance company. So that's not a good insurance. So it looks like you should take a effort to befriend one woman and you all make a pact or you make a promise to each other to be there for the future. Go ahead, Haley.
Yeah, I totally take your point on that. And building whole networks. You're right to start with one and then build whole networks. And then maybe another topic for later is just the future of women in general. Because what's coming at girls right now is like this very harsh propaganda about like, well, your future ends at 30 or whatever. I think it's really hard for a lot of girls right now to picture a future at all. So then if they think about like, what are my choices for the future? Overall society is kind of killing people, but girls are not exempt from that. Girls are feeling that too, of just like, well, what is the point of planning for a future when I don't even want to be alive to begin with? Like everybody's like, well, if you're not cute when you're 35, it's over, you're done. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, but these losers, and you know what? I got to stop projecting because a lot of women, a lot of young women are listening to these losers. And I've never listened to a man tell me what I can and cannot do. I never listen to women either. I'm just saying no one is going to tell me what my destiny is. And I think, and I don't mean to be offensive to anyone who is religious, but I think that's the thing about the difference between spiritual and being religious. It's like every sense I got from underneath the cloud of religion, you can't play those mind games on me anymore, especially with fear. So the men saying that, oh, you're gonna hit the wall when you're 27, and your eggs are gonna dry up and this and that. I can't relate to any of that. Okay, because I didn't start when I was not interested in getting married until I hit 40. And then, boom, I got married. It's not a big deal. Trust me, it's not hard. But I made sure that I lived my life. I traveled throughout my entire 20s, you know what I'm saying? And a little bit of my early 30s. I lived my life. I wasn't going to let somebody tell me how I had to live. I don't have a home full of cats. I'm not on 8 different medications. I'm not on any type of antidepressant at all. It's okay if you are, but I'm just saying I don't meet the stereotype that these incels and these red pillars like to spew at women that are in their 30s and look into the future of what what is it going to be? It could be anything you want it to be. But I'm telling you that it can get there faster if you have someone on your team. And as they say, two or more come in the name, or if you get two or more people, you can manifest your goals even faster. Go ahead, thought. Sorry, rambling.
I was joking a little bit earlier. I mean, as much as I'm I do have like a Golden Girls retirement plan of a couple of ladies. We're just waiting for our kids to age out and for a couple of us to stop working. And then, of course, we can just, take up residence together, go out on dates and not commit to anybody. Sound good? Yeah.
Well, on that show, because that show is hilarious, right? Like
It
when I
is.
see, yeah, when you see those clips, it is hilarious. But on that show, aren't they like 45 or something? Like the whole thing about aging has really changed. So, and then you have J Lo. I just saw she posted a picture, and the guys are all mad because they're like, "Isn't she pushing 60? What the hell is she doing up there?"
Stay
Did you know?
mad.
I had no idea that J Lo was the same age as Blanche. I had no idea.
Oh my God! See what I'm talking about?
I was like, what? Wait a minute. Blanche was in her what, 53 or something like that? It shocked me. It shocked me. Cause I thought I was looking at a TV series, and I love that show. I thought I was looking at women that are in their 50s and 60s and 70s. Especially with the grandma, I thought she was in her 80s. You know, and there's another show. Listen. I may not look like a girl's girl, but I am one because I also like designing women. I love the concept of women cohabitating together and using their energy to empower the other. That's my background. That's my thing. I love that. So shows where you have women living together, and helping each other grow, especially if they have a business. I love those type of shows.
Yeah, and I think partly we can have that kind of relationship long term. Men have made themselves super short term because they only value us like an avocado or a peach or something. You have to catch it like within 15 seconds, and then there's this window of time where they value us. But for girls, we value each other permanently, and we
Yes,
love each other more right up until we die. Right? Like you love that
yes.
person.
Girl, you are speaking my language today, honey. Yes, true, true, true. And I think that's the reason why I want to start advocating more for women to start befriending other women. I know Thoughts was joking, because like I said, I'm not really that easy to get along. But for me and Thoughts, the way we hooked up and did, because by the way, I've given her credit, but you all know that the reason why that piece about Rachel and Andrew, but mainly was on Rachel, was so thorough, it was because of Thoughts. Thoughts did all the legwork on that. I put it all together, but I needed her to know how to put it in a sequence of events. And I enjoyed working with her so much. I've been trying to look for another excuse to work with her, and I think I found it because we're going to go over the war room transcripts because I am a certified NLP practitioner, and I see what they're doing, but she has good eyes to see other things that I'm not able to catch. So we are going to do something on that in the future. So I know all of you all are going to get bigger sisterhoods, but as long as you have one, I'm happy. Go ahead, Lisa.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say I really agree because in the past, women were told that you have to get married and that is your plan for life. We were banned from most professions. We were kept separate from each other. I mean, maybe to some extent, we had our family networks and things, but yeah, I've noticed that women are really, like, if you're looking at the red pill and guys in the manosphere, it's like we're really damned if we do and damned if we don't because we're shamed for being gold diggers and leeches and this kind of thing. But then if you have any independence, like you want to have your own income, your own savings, your own long-term plan, your own sisterhood, like you said, then you're shamed for that too. It's one of my favorite expressions is a man is not a plan. And that doesn't mean you don't love someone or you don't want to be with someone. It's just that there's nothing wrong with having a self-preservation instinct so that, you have a life and a survival outside of him. And it's really weird the way that has been pathologized. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
wanting to be a separate human being from a man, that's been pathologized in a really weird way.
I agree. I agree. Okay. As always, we always have 4 topics, but we end up only doing like 2 or 3. But before we wrap up on the last topic, does anybody want to say any closing words in reference to the situation? My heart goes out to her. I'm going to see and continue to look into her and see if they're going to release any more information. They just released her name today. That's how I got her name. But in reference to her having family, having any kids, no one is saying anything about that at the moment.
I can look it up if you want.
Okay.
You know how I do.
Yes, I do know how you do, girl. Okay.
I think in all these news stories, I'm starting to watch more how they're reported and there are sad, tragic cases of a guy dying at his desk, yes. And a lot of times society will look at that and lament it and be like, oh, that's really sad that nobody cared. But when a woman does it, there's a lot of heckling or like, well, she made bad choices. She shouldn't have been at work. Just a
Right.
lot of heckling like, oh, she should have slept with more people and then she would have had a family and she wouldn't be dead at her desk. It's like there's really a double standard happening with how those stories are told.
Yeah, that's true. And like I said, we don't even know if she has a family or not. I want to know to see because I've seen so many women neglected by their own kids, all right, by their own family members. So that's what I want. I want to see if this is one of those cases. So there's that. All right. So last but not least, this is going to be a funny one. This is going to be a fun one. We're gonna probably deal with I'm gonna do the other one probably next Tuesday. But I just posted it in the chat, in the thread on this space, and it's reference to the men um, very aggressively attacking the sorority girls. Now you all remember the sorority girls had a dance off or something like that, and they was dancing, and you see like men who are hung like an ant, like Tim Pool, and other guys who are incels and can't get no bitches. They're like, oh, these women, all they do is go and just have sex with all these men. They're just 304s, this, that, and the other, and I've never seen this, and before. And the internet is not new for me, of course, but it's like lately, probably in the last 7 years, you see it gets worse where these men are attacking women for just existing. But our guy Alexander, okay, those of you who don't know, Alexander is a scientist. He's a research analyst, and he deals with a lot with dating. And I put it in the thread. So I'm gonna read out the screenshot, and then I'm gonna read the reply that a young lady made named Diane, and I'm gonna read Alexander's reply along with a case study that made so much sense. So here we have Matt Wallace has a picture of a bunch of very attractive, sexy sorority girls, and they're outside their sorority house, having it up, living their life. And Matt says, what do you notice about the average American girl? Okay, attempting to shame these women. And then somebody cropped this out, but they didn't show the person saying it. And it's a guy, but I don't know who it is. It says, this is what women go to college to do. Make cringe dance videos, drink alcohol, do drugs, the top 20% of dudes on campus. That's all athletes and that are all athletes and frat bros. Graduate in debt and eventually work a stupid entry-level job in HR making $60,000 per year while saying men are trash. Okay, this is projection big time. The only good of social media is now men can see how higher academia corrupts modern women into being hoes. And Diane Yaup says, boys are only salty about quote unquote hoes when they can't get any. But it doesn't make much sense. Even the hoes won't touch you. I guess that makes you pretty gross. And then Alexander pops in with the statistics saying, yep, when men experience rejection or feel outcompeted by other men, they become less supportive of promiscuity. When men are more successful in the mating market, they tolerate promiscuous women more. Now, I don't know if I want to say promiscuous women. I don't think these women are promiscuous. They're just, we don't know what their bedroom action is, but I would willing to say they're not virgins. So what? So then he shows a screenshot that says, as mentioned in the introduction, when men are romantically rejected, for example, in online dating, they express a stronger opposition to casual sex. Conversely, when men receive positive romantic feedback from women about their value as a mate, their support for casual sex increases. When opposite sex mates appear scarce, men engage in more intrasexual competition. They become more jealous and they express more mate guarding behavior. When men outnumber women in an environment, which I don't know if that's the case at the college, because I heard that women outnumber men at colleges, but okay. When other men are more masculine or desirable, and when men have lower mate value relative to other men, those men judge promiscuous female more harshly. So here you have men who don't, so when you see men judge like Matt Wallace, and I don't care if they're married, okay, because this is what I say in reference to men who attack Hillary Crowder. I gotta drink some water, I'm getting tongue tied. These men are sexually frustrated, even if they're married. Even if they're married, they're not getting any from their wives. So they attack beautiful women. I have never, ever seen a man take what is known as a very unattractive woman who's 800 pounds and say, oh, I bet you she get a lot of hoe. I bet she's a hoe. I bet you she get ran through. They only do this to average and attractive looking women. And so in my opinion, this is a form of self-snitching. What do you all think as I drink my water?
I had the college experience, and I was in a hoe in college and put myself through college, and I never had this problem. I have a cousin who was a college cheerleader, was Greek, was an NCAA college cheerleader, and she wasn't a hoe. She is now a lawyer, and she works for a DA down in Florida. So, I mean, let them say what they will. No, she wasn't entry level. She came right out of law school and got a job with a DA down in Florida. So, I mean, let them say whatever they will about women, but no. I was in a medical program. I was completely surrounded by women, and I was with the same women for most of the time that I was in college. And no, I didn't have time to go out and party and go to ragers and keggers or anything like that. All I had time to do was study. By the time that I came out of college, I actually got sick when I came out of college because all I did was study the whole time. I studied myself to death.
A lot of this audience, that these incels on there, they aren't interested in going to college. So actually what you just said there, they have absolutely no way of comparing it.
Yeah, I have a 2 master's degree, so I'm right there with you. Like, all I did was study, and study some more while I worked full time. And same thing. I worked, studied, made myself sick almost. So I'm right there with you. And I didn't sleep around. I had one boyfriend the entire time. Ended up marrying him, had a kid, ended up divorcing him. But it was the same thing. So, like, what they say is absolutely ridiculous. Maybe there's 1% or 2% of women who are that way. It's no different than the men. And the rest of us are not like that. But again, they base their data on a bunch of bullshit, and then they project their lack of insecurity on the rest of us because we don't want them, because we don't want their shit. I can't help it. I don't want their loser attitude on me.
I'll tell you where they base their data is that one girl that hurt them. That's where they blanket their data on. That one girl that hurt them, that went off to college, and she did
Yep.
that. That's
You're
where they
talking about
place
Ted
all their
Bundy
data on.
100%.
And the rest of them we don't want them either. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. I value myself way too much to have to deal with a bunch of insecure men who have an ego that I don't feel like dealing with. I'd rather be alone and just deal with my girlfriends. That's where I'm at.
The whole point of the Greek system is to have those connections later down the road to get a better job and to get ahead. I mean, yes, they do party. Yes, they do have all of these ragers and parties and all this stuff. But it's to get a better job and have those connections down the road. I mean, they're able to call on those people and put that on their job resumes. And yes, it does make a difference.
Yes, it does. Because it is networking. And you're absolutely correct. Networking is what gets you ahead and gets you in different positions and into different, job. And it's no different for men. How do you think men get ahead? It is your network. It is your connections that get you into different companies. And we did the exact same thing. All we did was follow the lead of the men. If they don't like the way the women are acting, well, all they do is look at themselves.
So I think what a lot of this is men are hypergamous, and everything they say in the red pill is projection. Basically, I've been posting about this a lot lately. They're always picking on women who are higher class. Like I've been retweeting this thing and highlighting and pointing out one of these incel posts where he's talking about guys who work at a gas station or at a busboy, and then looking at all the whores and Lulumons and stuff like that. It's like, this is like what you see in a Hollywood movie over and over again, where it's like the poor nerdy guy ends up getting like the hot, rich, preppy chick or whatever, but in real life, they don't get her and they're really mad about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, the 90s,
Stacy?
the 90s and
Yes.
2000
Oh my God,
movies
those
where
movies
the
were so terrible.
oh,
They're talking about women
those
being the reason. Oh
movies,
my God.
those movies made
Yeah, for real.
those movies made this problem where the nerdy guy got the super hot girl. Those movies have made this incel problem.
Dude, in Can't Buy Me Love, he still had to pay her. Like, welcome to OnlyFans 80s edition.
So let me go ahead and put myself on blast. I seem to have a different experience than everyone here, which is awesome. But I came to college. I had just lost my virginity the summer before. And many of you know, my father raised me. He was a very strict man, but he was also a womanizer. He was just a bad person to women. But I've learned indirectly some game from him. And so I joined a sorority the sophomore year. My first year freshman, I was a little afraid because I was like, you have all these men coming at you at one time because you're freshmen, you're fresh meat. And therefore, I end up getting a boyfriend. But on my sophomore year, I wasn't oh my God. It was like if I saw a guy, I was like, okay, I'm going to see if I can work my magic on him and everything like that. So, I partied. I had fun. I had sex. Okay. I did my thing. I was very popular because of my height and the fact that I had joined a popular, a second popular, sorority on the campus. You know what I'm saying? I had that campus eating out of my hands, you know what I'm saying? So many connections and everything like that. So it was like, to me, it was a power thing for me, especially as a dominant woman, to just get what I want and how I want. And I never went hungry because, you're broke when you're in college and everything like that. And I started to learn the power of femininity. I began to learn the power of women, that you could just smile at somebody at KFC and he'll give you an extra thigh or 2 chicken wings and stuff like that and a couple of biscuits. I started to really get into my womanhood and started to learn more about my power, and I used it and I exercised it, and I think when I finally left college, I mastered it. So that's been, and I'm fully transparent about that, and I'm proud of it because it makes me who I am today, to where you can see me be more accepting of women that have different. Now, don't get me wrong. When I say I wasn't promiscuous, but because I'm very selfish with my body, but I'm very selective with who I decide to, I guess you could say, quote unquote, take. And I looked at sex differently than other women because of my height, because of, the way, my mindset that I got from my father. I looked at men, how men look at women like, ooh, I wonder how I can break her or conquer her. I looked at that way towards men. And I got really good at it after a couple of tries and then began to master it. And then I realized this is wrong. I'm doing to men what my father is doing to women. And then that's when I started to, right before I graduated, I just stopped doing those mind games. So.
Sometimes we
I
take
think
those
that's
heads off the Barbies, and that's our mistake. All right. Oops, I took the head off my doll. Better not do that in the future because I don't know. I kind of miss my doll, maybe. I don't know. New doll.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I also had my fun in college and I went to parties, but I was only once invited to a frat party where I ended up leaving and going to the German house because I didn't like the vibe there. Like, I was a nerd who hooked up with other nerds. In fact, I think I took a guy's virginity once. He was like a nerdy chemistry major. I don't know. But anyway, but these guys, it's very obvious that they want like the hot, preppy sorority chicks because that's who they're focusing on all the time. And other women, I think, are just kind of invisible to them, really. It's like that. And Elliot Rodger was the same way. He needed to have a hot, popular blonde. And he wouldn't even be friends with guys that were nerds because he thought he was too good for that. He thought he was supposed to be with a certain status of people. And he did come from money, but they just weren't interested in him, So I think, again, it's about like men being hypergamous.
I loved the nerds. I liked the fixer upper, like the one that was kind of a nerd, but like you could fix him up a little bit and he would be hot. Like those were my favorites, the fixer uppers.
Yeah, well, you got to be careful about that though, because you level a guy up, and then he gets confidence, and then he starts going around with all the other women. So there's that.
No,
Yeah, avoid
you
the
gotta be
money
good
pit
though.
guys,
You gotta be
okay?
good enough and have enough confidence to like hang on to him though.
Yeah, avoid the guys that, sneak up behind you and say, I forgot my wallet,
Well,
The
wait a minute.
dusty.
Define. I like that term. You said avoid the money pit guys. What do you mean by money pit guys?
They never want to pay for anything. They always forgetting their
Oh
wallet,
shoot,
even though they
God,
have a
please.
job, right? Even though they
Oh
have
hell
money.
no.
I would never get them in my radar.
I had
Listen,
one
you don't
guy
mind
that did
paying
that
for a
to
good,
me.
you don't mind paying for good D now and then, What
Honey,
you're
we
doing though is you're paying them to
Gross.
go away. No, you're paying them to go away, right? Now look, I'm feeding you. Go away.
I would only pay for D if I was single and a millionaire, and I'm like, listen, I'm over. Listen, because I don't have, listen, I got money, so I don't have to have a man or whatever. And
Maybe if I was like really hot and 65 and like going for like the 25-year-olds, like
there you go.
Cher.
Listen, if any woman wants to pay for it, I'm all for it. I'm not against that either. I've befriended a couple of men gigolos, and their lifestyle is hilarious. It's a totally different scene versus the courtesans I know. So yeah, mostly women get these guys just to talk and have somebody be around. You know what I'm saying? And maybe they get sex, but it's like for the most part, it's like companionship. I'm like, what? They're paying you all that money for that? It's like, wow, that's a good intro. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna be interviewing the 304 lawyer Jasmine this Thursday. I'm gonna name the interview called hookers, hustlers, no, hookers, hoes, and 304s. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm going to call it. Since men think that women who are not, here's the new narrative. If you're not a virgin, you're a hoe. And if you are not a virgin and you have an OnlyFans page, regardless if you're showing nudes or not, you're a hooker. So I'm like, okay, you're not going to shame these women. So let's go ahead and embrace these stupid ass titles that you're going to give us. Then what you're going to do? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to skip the subject because I feel like I'm about to do that. But I just want to say this. It feels like these men are trying their best to make these women, us, miserable like them.
I don't know. I had a guy one time hit my DMs on Facebook and asked me if I would be interested in moving in with him and doing OnlyFans. He was really hot, though. I was like, no, thank you, sir. I'm really a decent woman.
Catfish.
What?
Sounds like a catfish.
What? Are you serious?
No, he was real. He was real. I did a lot of research on him, but I was like, no, sir. No, thank you.
Okay, that he was from Tate's class. Go ahead, Lisa.
I have one last thought before I have to get ready for work, actually. But that study you were talking about from Alexander Datepsych, it's on his website called datepsychology.com. And it's titled "We Were Patriarchs: Male Mating Strategies and Intersexual Competition." But if you just remember "We Were Patriarchs," you'll find it. And also, he has another interesting one titled "Who Are the Men That Demand Virgins?" And basically, just to summarize it, really the reality is the opposite of what the red pill says, because the red pill says that, a woman with a low body count, or preferably a virgin, is high value, high body count, low value, where for a man it's the opposite. A man with a high body count is high value, which means that he wants a virgin, he'll only marry a virgin, blah, blah, blah. And really what the findings show are exactly the opposite. Men with higher body counts don't care as much about body count as men with low body counts. The only men who really want virgins are virgins. Men who are actually married or in relationships don't care as much about body count as men that are single. It's mostly young men who care about body count, which kind of makes sense. And basically, like, if you think about it with common sense, it makes sense that someone with a higher body count would not care as much about body count, but they'll tell you and also there's really no correlation between body count and like their appearance or their wealth and everything. So basically the entire red pill is wrong, is the bottom line to all of this. It's not true, the whole narrative about, a high status man has a high body count, but he wants a virgin, da da da. The data doesn't show that at all. In fact, it's the opposite. It's virgins who want virgins, and men who are sexually experienced are less intimidated or concerned about a woman being sexually experienced.
Can you do us a favor before you go, Lisa? Can you take that study you was just talking about, and can you link it in the replies so that I can add it? Because that's a very interesting.
Yeah, I can do that right now before I go.
Okay,
but
great.
thank you. This was fun.
Okay, great.
Have a great day, everybody.
All right, bye-bye.
See ya.
Okay, Hallie, go ahead.
Oh, I just want to throw out there, I have absolutely no problem with hoes. Hoes are doing the Lord's work. They're doing stuff I'm not generous enough to do.
True.
I'm amazed that they would heckle people who still show up to be a hoe, because look at how girls have withdrawn in every category. The hookup culture. I see all these girls on YouTube saying like, no, I don't want to do the apps. No, I don't want to give my body to that. I don't want to drink. I don't want to be used, and I'm not into hookup culture. Girls are literally fleeing, and it's a dry desert on.
Are they really?
1,000%. So it's bizarre that these guys are still heckling the few who are willing to have anything to do with them. And then, they brag about how many hoes they can burn through. There's absolutely no reason for a girl to engage at all. So why shame them? But the last thing I just wanted to comment on the news story that you brought up, that why they're heckling these girls. The main message that I see coming at girls right now is hostility. Hostility in the sense that men want us to know that they hate us and they don't want us and they don't like us. And to me, it breaks a very basic social contract, which is fundamentally, if you look at nature, like you look at a male giraffe and a female giraffe, the male giraffe is supposed to like the female. He has to like the female in order for like nature to go on and the earth to turn. Now, the men want us to know that they hate us. So there's a very fundamental thing there which has been broken, which I think is going to stop the earth from spinning.
That's very interesting. Go ahead, thoughts?
Yeah, it feels.
I don't. Oh, sorry. I do not dislike any woman who takes advantage of stupid men on the internet. I personally would rather them do like something like OnlyFans than go out and turn like tricks on the street, because that's so dangerous. But I hate for anyone to become a victim of someone like Andrew Tate. I mean, that is completely scary for me, for anyone that's in the sex industry. I mean, it's completely frightening. So that's my only concern for anyone who does any kind of like sex industry work, is I'm more concerned for them than anything.
It just feels like these ladies are doing some kind of like self-harming charity work for the men, and they're being compensated so little. I mean, only that Nala or whatever made 9 million. The top makes the most money, right? And it does give the bad impression to the ones just coming into the industry that they're gonna get rich.
Facts.
You don't, right? It's pyramidy, right? Like
Right.
the most popular streamers will make the most money, and so I mean, it ends up being charity work when you're only charging like $4.99 a month. I just feel like a lot of these women are devaluing themselves. And if I ever had an OnlyFans, you bet it's like $1,000 a month. You're only going to see my feet. I'm going to do some chores. Okay. You want to watch me sleep? Okay. I fart in my sleep, fellas. I don't give a tip me. Okay. You want to watch me shower, but it's only the curtain? That's right. You get to see nothing.
I agree. This is why when those Andrew and them was like, oh, Tree of Logic used to do domination. I'm like, used to? Boy, I'm getting back into the business because there's so many betas out here. I'm leaving money on the table. But it's a very powerful thing. Like I said, I don't shame any woman who goes into the industry. Okay, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But when you, like you said earlier, if you're not part of a certain percentage where you're making money, it is charity work. So I'd rather them not do it also. I know a woman's personality is not aggressive and alpha, so I don't recommend, if this is not your personality, I don't recommend domination work, because these subs will eat you alive if they realize that they can get one over on you, because that's not your true nature. I'm a to the core. Okay, been that way most of my life. That's why I said when I started to fill out my powers in college, that's when I realized, who I am as a woman, as a dominant woman. And it feels good to say, these guys say, oh, you say something, I'm gonna release your, do it. What? I said, there's not one picture of me nude, and there's not one picture of me doing anything sexual. I said, everything out there is me beating somebody's ass, or me dominating them, or them kissing my butt or my feet. I said, other than that, you ain't got nothing. And now I'm going to tell you something. That's a very powerful thing to say when men and women, because Rachel and Pearl and Isabella Riley, they tried to shut me up because I was exposing them. But when they realize that I'm proud of being of my pro-dom past, and I'm actually getting back into it, I'm doing it part-time now, okay, not fully back into it, but I'm still doing it. Like, you can't shame me for something that I'm proud of. So if any woman gets into this industry, please understand, you should think, are you going to be proud of this, as you get older? And would you want to get back into this industry as you get older? I think I was on a sabbatical or retired for 12 years, and now I'm getting back into it. So, because I miss it. It's what I love. But you got to make sure this is exactly what you want to do. And like Thought says, don't do charity work if there's no need for you to lose who you are for just pennies.
Yeah, I want to put my subby in a police interrogation room tied to a chair and make him pee a bucket, and every time for every drop he misses the bucket, he gets a lash, right? And then I'll wave my perfume under his nose and be like, you like that? Yeah, keep dreaming, fella.
Thoughts has got some weird Casino Royale, like.
Right? I'll take your ear.
Okay, all right. So we're heading up to an hour and a half. Like I said, I don't want this to go over anywhere from an hour to hour and a half. So does anybody have any closing remarks before we end this space today, which was really good? It's a really good space. What I'm going to do with everybody, I'm going to clean up the language. We can say what we want to say on Twitter, but before I put it on YouTube, I always got to edit everything out. So the clean version, for those of you who want to listen to this around friends, it will be available on my YouTube channel. So, okay, we'll go around. Who wants to go first for closing statements?
I had a lot of fun. Thanks.
Glad you come, girl. Okay, Sharon.
I enjoyed it. You know, I think our next discussion could be a little bit more, especially about the Dominic stuff, because I had no idea about this stuff. You're talking to somebody who has no idea about that entire subject.
Really?
I'll
Really?
send you some
Oh, her
links to
pictures,
Tree's videos.
her pictures are crazy, but they are so strong.
Yeah, I'm a little. Yeah, I don't know if you want to go down that rabbit hole. Okay, so that's not something that most women can do because most women don't have the stomach for it. And I am so sadistic. I'm like, hey, you paying me? I'll do it. And I've been trained by a cowboy who has a cow ranch to know how to whip properly. So yeah, it's been an open secret, but some people who hate me think that they're gonna, I guess you could say, counsel me and revealed everything about me by bringing out something I've always bragged about. Ever since I came into the politics, I've always bragged about my life as a pro dom.
I was gonna say, because I knew that, like, once I first started following you, I kind of knew that you were in it. So, like, how can you shame it?
Right, right.
Yep.
I never did. I never got rid of my website. I never got rid of my Twitter account because I knew I was going to eventually come back.
Yeah, I never said a word. I was like, no, I'm not even saying a word. I was like, taking that one in the grave. But then the guys came out with it, and I was like, oh god. I was like, here
Yeah,
they
I was like,
go.
y'all telling everybody something I've already told them. You ain't got nothing. So there's that. But yeah, we can talk about that next time, sure, not a problem. Okay, Hallie, you got any last words?
Oh, y'all have me cracking up, snorting my drink. I want to say I think these are really revolutionary times. I may be one of the weirdest people here. I don't know, because I really think that it's time for radical change on this planet, and it's the perfect time for us, and we're all here together at this crossroads. And yeah, I thought some of the stuff you touched on today, like power, and how girls have power or they don't have power, is interesting all by itself.
Yeah, and this is why I said I think and girl, please, you're nowhere near weird as I am. But I this is what I said. I looked at the power of women and I understood the same power that I watched my father have over women. I just flipped it to actually having power as a woman, which made me realize that that's where it originated from. If that's going to blow your mind, okay? So all pimps learn how to be pimps from a woman first. They know they get the game from a woman. And men have rapped about this for eons. They're saying you get your name from a woman, you get your game from a woman. When a woman knows how to run game, she is unstoppable. But like I said, I had to stop using it, I guess, as a payback for all the things that I saw my father do to women, and just start, like, I guess you could say, use it for be selective when using it. And women don't understand their power until, and I have to blame religion on this because they're told they're subservient, they're subhuman, they have to obey, they have to do this. But once you get out of that mindset and you realize, oh, I'm a womb man, then it takes you to another level of power that I think you can never understand how it feels until you have experienced it. Okay, Lisa, and then thought. Or is she still?
Yeah, I was actually just clapping because I'm getting ready to leave now. But yeah, I agree. And, I kind of agree with the expression youth is wasted on the young, which is not at all a put down of the young. But yeah, if you could take like a 40 or 50-year-old woman and put her in like a 20-year-old woman's body, she would rule the entire world, probably, basically.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I've heard that some of the scariest like brothel owners were women.
Yes. And the highest, most powerful person in the sex industry is a madam, not a pimp. And one of the reasons why the madam is the most powerful position in the sex industry is because women are more likely to keep secrets. And as you know, there's several madams that went to jail. They didn't snitch like certain pimps, and they didn't set up a plea deal. They also treat the women better because if you treat women that work for you like respectable women that they are more loyal to you, they're more honest with you, and they're dedicated to you, versus when these pimps have we have big turnover rate because how they treat women, and it's more stressful on the women, so the women look more worn down in the face and their bodies, and like they don't with the courtesans and also the madams that have high price escorts. Those women are treated with respect, and therefore they have a longevity in the industry. I don't envy them, but like one of you all said, somebody has to do it. Okay, thoughts? Last final words?
I'm going to say I'm enjoying these spaces. I think the topics are good. The host, of course, I worship at the feet of for no money, right? It's good to meet these other ladies and hear their voices, and I look forward to more, even if I'm just a listener. So thanks, Tree.
All right, no problem. And like I said, guys, if you have any topics you want us to talk about next Tuesday, let me know. We will have this every Tuesday. So if you are able to join, you can. If not, that's fine too. It will be open to you all every Tuesday at 1:00 p.m. So I want to thank you all first of all, I want to thank all the ladies here who are speakers for joining. I really appreciate you so much. And I want to thank all of you all for listening to our second episode, because our first episode was last Tuesday. And like I said, what I do is I take the videos, I clean them, I take the audio, I clean it up, and then I put it on the channel. So if you want the the PG rated version, you can always check it on my YouTube channel, Just Tree 411. All right. With that being said, thank you all for coming, and I will. Oh, and be here for this Thursday for my interview with Jasmine, the 304 lawyer. That's what she called herself. Jasmine Jafar, the 304 lawyer. That interview will be this Thursday at 1:00. Okay. Thank you so much for coming by, and I'll see you all next time. Bye. Later, taters.